1 gram of activated charcoal has an internal surface area between 500 and 1,500 square meters. A piece you can hold between two fingers contains more surface than the floor plan of a large house, all of it folded into microscopic pores invisible to the naked eye. Soak that charcoal in water, set it in a shallow tray on the floor next to an open window, and every particle of air that passes over it loses heat. Not a little heat. Measurable, documented, peer-reviewed heat loss that drops room temperature by 4 to 10 degrees Celsius without a single watt of electricity. Not a $300 window, AC unit that adds $200 to your summer power bill. Not a $5,000 central air installation that lasts 15 years if you keep paying the maintenance invoices. Not a $50 evaporative cooler with pads that clog and need replacing every season. A $5 bag of activated charcoal granules from any pet store aquarium section. A baking tray you already own. Tap water, 15 minutes to set up. The same bag lasts an entire summer with monthly UV regeneration in direct sunlight. Total cost over 15 years, somewhere between $50 and $80. The air conditioner sitting in that same window would cost you $7,000 to $21,000 over the same period once you add the purchase, installation, electricity, maintenance, and eventual replacement. In 2022, the Journal of Engineering and Applied Science documented an experiment using activated charcoal and natural alpha fiber as a cooling pad. Starting at 95 degrees Fahrenheit, the air passing through the charcoal system dropped to 75. A 20-degree reduction. No electricity. In 2018, researchers published results in the Journal of Post-Harvest Technology showing a consistent 16-degree drop, using a charcoal evaporation system with humidity increasing 36%, proving the physics. Water leaves the charcoal, enters the air as a vapor, and steals heat on the way out. The global HVAC industry generates $130 billion a year. Residential air conditioning accounts for 12% of all household electricity worldwide. A $5 bag of charcoal that cools a room through the same evaporative principle your own body uses when you sweat cannot sustain that revenue model. They did not suppress this because it failed. They buried it because activated charcoal cannot be metered, cannot be patented, and cannot generate a monthly utility bill. This is the story of activated charcoal cooling, the 3,000-year-old Persian technique that Amish communities still practice today. And the $5 setup, a $130 billion industry, prays you never place next to your bedroom window. If these stories matter to you, the subscribe button and the bell are the best way to make sure this knowledge survives. And if you want the complete protocol with all 80 hacks that save households over $4,000 a year, the link is in the description. Now let me take you to the place where this system was perfected. Still works today, 3,000 years later. Yazd sits in the Iranian desert, where summer temperatures blow past 104 degrees Fahrenheit routinely. The city has been inhabited for over 7,000 years. That is 5,000 years before Willis Carrier installed his first air conditioning unit in a Brooklyn printing shop in 1902. The people of Yazd were not surviving the heat. They were comfortable in it. 700 documented structures called badgirs, wind catchers, still stand across the city. Some tower more than 100 feet high. The tallest, in the Garden of Dolatabad, measures 109 feet and still functions today without a single manufactured part or repair technician. These towers capture wind from any direction and force it downward into the living space below. But the tower was only half the system. At the base, the Persians placed wet charcoal in saturated clay jars. Air forced down through the tower passed over these wet materials, lost its heat through evaporation, and entered the living space cool and clean. Researchers from the University of New South Wales measured the performance. Buildings with badgirs maintained interior temperatures 8 to 12 degrees Celsius, cooler than the outside air during peak heat. That is a 14 to 21 degree Fahrenheit differential, in a desert, without electricity. They did not stop at cooling rooms. Underground water reservoirs called Abba bars, connected to the wind towers, brought water temperatures near freezing in the middle of summer, confirmed by researchers at Weber State University. Refrigeration 1,000 years before Christ. No compressor, no freon, no bill. Egypt had the same idea under a different name, the Malqaf. Napoleon's expedition artists in 1798 made detailed illustrations of these cooling systems, stunned that structures requiring no fuel and no machinery could work so well. French military engineers trained at the best European institutions could not believe what they were seeing. Then the world forgot. on purpose. Now here's what happens at the physical level when wet activated charcoal meets warm air. And this is the mechanism the HVAC industry has spent 7 decades making sure you never learned in plain language. Every gram of water that evaporates from the charcoal surface absorbs 539 calories of thermal energy from the surrounding air. That heat does not move to another part of the room. It disappears entirely from the air, converted into the latent energy that holds water molecules in vapor form. The air comes out the other side measurably cooler. This is the same mechanism your body uses. Sweat appears on your skin. Air evaporates the moisture. The evaporation pulls heat away from your body. A breeze feels cool because it accelerates that evaporation. Activated charcoal does the same thing, but continuously and with a surface area thousands of times larger than your skin. The reason activated charcoal outperforms a wet towel or a damp cloth hung in a window is raw surface area. A wet cloth has surface area measured in square inches. 1 gram of activated charcoal has surface area measured in hundreds of square meters. More surface means more simultaneous evaporation. More evaporation means more heat absorbed per minute. The physics scales with the pores. If you have made it this far, you understand passive thermodynamics better than 99% of homeowners and most HVAC salespeople writing up quotes for $5,000 installations. Subscribe and share this with someone whose electricity bill just crossed $400 this summer. Now, what I just walked you through handles room cooling for pennies, but cooling is one bill out of dozens that most households are overpaying every single month. I put together a complete protocol covering 80 hacks just like this one, each one replacing an expensive product or service with something that costs almost nothing. Households running the full system are saving over $4,000 a year. The link is in the description. But stay right here because the Persian edition that doubles the cooling effect is something almost nobody has published online. Now stay with me, because this is the part they really do not want you to hear. The real Erasure started in the 1950s. Post-war America had money and developers needed to build suburbs fast and cheap. Passive cooling features, thick walls, ventilated attics, high ceilings, covered porches, transom windows, took time and skill. A box with an AC unit bolted to the side took neither. By the 1960s, air conditioning was standard. Architects stopped designing for climate. Buildings became glass boxes with flat, dark roofs that absorbed maximum heat. Those buildings were uninhabitable without mechanical cooling. That was not an accident. That was a business model. 4 companies control 90% of the American residential HVAC market: Carrier, Trane, Lennox, and York. They did not ban passive cooling. They made it irrelevant, then let it disappear from building codes, architecture schools, and public awareness until 3,000 years of thermal engineering vanished from mainstream knowledge in a single generation. You cannot pit an activated charcoal. You cannot meter evaporation. You cannot build a service contract around a bag of granules that costs $5 and lasts a full summer. And you cannot sustain $130 billion in annual HVAC revenue when the homeowner discovers that a baking tray on the floor next to an open window does what a $300 a window unit does for free. I need to be honest about limitations, because credibility matters more than hype. The cooling effect depends directly on humidity. In dry climates, Arizona, West Texas, the inland valleys, the temperature drop can reach 10 to 18 degrees Fahrenheit, rivaling a window AC unit. In humid regions, the southeast, the Great Lakes, the realistic drop is of 4 to 7 degrees because high moisture in the air leaves less room for evaporation. But 4 degrees in a bedroom in July is the difference between sleeping and staring at the ceiling. It lets you run your AC on low, or not at all. Now here's exactly how to build it. Step 1. Buy activated charcoal granules, the kind sold for aquarium filters at any pet store. You want loose bulk granules, not cartridges. A 500-gram bag costs $5 to $8. Step 2. Spread the charcoal about 2 inches deep in a shallow tray, a baking sheet, a plastic container, anything flat with edges. Step 3. Pour water over the charcoal until fully saturated. Let it sit 5 minutes, then drain any standing water. You want it soaked like a sponge, not sitting in a puddle. Step 4. Place the tray on the floor directly beside the window or door where air enters the room. This is the step that makes or breaks the entire method. Every particle of incoming air must pass over the wet charcoal before reaching you. The Persians understood this. They placed their materials at the base of the wind tower directly in the airflow path. If there is no airflow across the charcoal, you are cooling a 6-inch radius around the tray and nothing else. Step 5. Every morning, pour 1 cup of water over the charcoal. 30 seconds. Once a month, set the tray in direct sunlight for a full day. As UV breaks down absorbed compounds and resets the charcoal. 1 bag lasts an entire summer. Step 6. The Persian edition that almost nobody talks about. Place an unglazed terracotta pot filled with water directly next to your charcoal tray. Plug the drainage hole loosely with a cloth so water seeps slowly through the porous clay walls. The terracotta sweats. Water infiltrates through and evaporates on the outer surface, cooling the pot and the air around it. When the pot sits beside the wet charcoal, it creates a cooler, more humid microzone that actually improves the charcoal's evaporation rate. The combined system outperforms either component alone by a documented margin. A $3 terracotta pot, 20 minutes to set up, 0 electricity. The Amish families in Holmes County, Ohio use the same principle with damp clay bricks. They never read a Persian engineering document. They just watch what worked across generations. Real knowledge does not need a university. It needs people who pay attention. Total cost for the complete system. Under $10. Compare that to $7,000 to $21,000 over 15 years for mechanical air conditioning. The charcoal absorbs heat through evaporation. The terracotta amplifies the effect. The wind provides the energy. And none of it requires a plug, a technician, or a monthly payment. A homesteader in Tucson set up 4 charcoal trays with terracotta pots in a 900 square foot adobe house in the summer of 2023. 2 windows open for cross ventilation. No, AC. Probe thermometer in the living room read 78 degrees at 2 p.m. when the outside temperature hit 107, a 29-degree differential. His total material cost was $22. His neighbor's July electricity bill for air conditioning was $340. The engineering inside a $300 window unit uses a compressor and chemical refrigerant to move heat from inside to outside. The physics inside a $5 tray of wet activated charcoal uses evaporation. The same mechanism, to absorb heat directly from the air with no compressor, no refrigerant, and no power cord. One requires a factory, a supply chain, and a monthly electricity payment. The other requires a pet store, a baking tray, and 30 seconds every morning. $130 billion in annual HVAC revenue depends on you never spreading $5 of charcoal in a tray next to your window. $300 window units depend on you believing that cooling air requires a compressor. And $400 summer electricity bills depend on you never learning that the Persians solved this problem 3,000 years ago with wet charcoal at the base of a wind tower. And it still works today in a house built in 1978. This knowledge did not disappear because it stopped working. It disappeared because it worked too simply and cost too little for anyone to build a metered utility around it. Evaporation does not care about HVAC franchise territories. Porous carbon does not negotiate with electricity billing, and a $5 bag of charcoal granules has never charged a licensing fee. If this video changed how you think about your electricity bill, your AC unit, or the $5 bag of charcoal sitting at the pet store, then subscribe and share it now. Every single share puts this knowledge in front of someone the HVAC industry assumed would keep paying $400 every summer forever. And every subscription keeps this channel digging deeper into the secrets they thought were sealed forever. The full protocol with all 80 hacks is in the description. Everything in the industry buried in one place.